You just go ahead and get started. I start the recording, and I'll just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about.
Okay.
Alright. Oh, risky jump there.
Howdy.
Okay, so 2 of our teammates are already dead. We want to, so back here is looking like our team's getting quite a bit ahead of us, so notice how we're going to keep shooting here, and then in the meantime, or actually, no, never mind, these guys are feeding all the way over here. I thought they just walked forwards. Never mind, they're, oh, okay, they're in Narnia. Alright, so yeah, our Reinhardt and our Mercy are over on the flank for some reason, but we also roll backwards. So the other issue is that, you know, look at these guys are all ahead of us. We have these guys who are super far ahead of us, and we're just like putting ourselves a little bit too far backwards when we probably didn't need to roll backwards. And then that roll also probably could have helped you get forwards faster. So like, we kind of like twice put ourselves backwards, right? You know, 2 times the distance backwards when we probably should have been closer, because now we weren't really able to participate very much or help out at all. Now at this point we're down 2 people, so probably should be looking to back it up and wait for them to get back. No, very nice. Oh, make sure we're going for the Moira too. Maybe we didn't notice the Moira when we were coming over, but make sure we're paying attention to her then in that case, and we're being aware of our surroundings. But we flashed Reinhardt and Moira, and we went for the Reinhardt rather than the Moira, right? Which just isn't the right move to make. No, we shot at the Moira first, right? We knew she was there, right? But instead we went for the Reinhardt rather than the Moira, whereas we probably could have finished the Moira off here if we just shot at her, right? And then that secures the kill on the Moira. It means that Reinhardt doesn't have any healing, but I don't. Did we talk about target priority last time? I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Just a little bit. Well, just as a quick reminder, right? Target priority is just we don't shoot at tanks. Tanks have 2 to 3 times the health of other characters, right? And also a bunch of other things, tanking abilities, and other characters just do more statistically. But then tanks, even though they are very important roles still. But here we just want to make sure we're focusing the support or the DPS, not the tank, right? And then that maybe results in a kill versus no one dying. Okay. And a lot of shots though I'm noticing a lot of body shots as well. Last time we talked about cross replacement.
Yeah.
Yes. So just aiming head level. So we're good general mechanics, but crosshair placement still looking like a big thing to work on, as we're still hitting quite a bit of body shots and we're aiming pretty low on people. Like we just kind of look at our crosshair while we're walking in on top of these guys. Like here we're looking pretty low on the low on them. Now we're looking up. Ooh, very nice, Hainun. I like it. That's pretty nice timing, and we also got a pick out of it. Maybe let's rewatch that too. Do we have time to wait out the DM, or are they gonna get away? You possibly, honestly, you probably could have waited like an extra second to see if the DM went down, because then if DM went down there, then that means that we get 3 kills rather than 1 kill, right? So that's just something to consider, is just maybe possibly, especially like if you see that you have time to wait, you can wait out the defense matrix. But besides that, we're really nice playing.
That'll get it done.
Just really make sure we're going for the headshots, because we're hitting a lot of body shots. Alright. Good rotation. Make sure we're just rolling on that rotation to get there faster. Very nice.
Who's got the hot hand? Whoa there.
Alright. Maybe not the best idea to just drop without scouting it out first. I think we're trying to like maybe get the Mora, but you know, it might be a better idea to just turn around and, you know, come this way and maybe like check it out, or like try to look straight down before we're dropping. Or there's also a diva over on our left here, but here we're kind of dropping straight on top of them, and then it just ends up being tanks, and then now we're probably not gonna be able to kill those tanks, right? Whereas if we were like, right, let's say we turn this, now we can just shoot at Moira for free, or we could even shoot at Reinhardt if we wanted to. We could like flash Reinhardt and shoot him at the head, right? This drop isn't necessary, and then therefore we're out of position, and there's decent chance that we end up dying to tanks. We got more out of. Oh, okay. So a couple different things. All right. First off, High Noon probably not necessary in that situation.
Yeah.
Right. like a couple different things. Like first off, it's a lot less effective to try to kill the baby with like this, and on top of that, it's probably actually gonna make it easy for her to just headshot us and kill us, right? Secondly, Reinhardt's just gonna be able to very easily just turn around and shield that, so it's not like we're gonna be really get much more value besides killing the baby. The other thing is, again, with this positioning, we're kind of putting ourselves in a really easy spot for these guys who are coming back to shoot at us. So at the moment, positioning looking pretty bad. Being where we're standing right now, right? You can see out in the open, right? Putting ourselves in a spot where like the tanks could run at us, or these guys walking back from spawn can get us. We're also not being aware of the guys walking back from spawn, and then the high noon's not going to do really anything besides kill the baby when she's already 1 HP. You could have meleeed her there, right? She's literally 1 HP,
Yeah.
right? So just couple different things, just awareness, paying attention. Still can melee her. Okay, and we die. All right. So couple bigger things there that they just kind of added up.
Back in pay.
Yeah, very nice. Not using our ears and listening. If I turn right, what's gonna be there?
I honestly don't know. Oh yeah, the soldier.
Soldier visoring, right? We can. Right now, I do have my volume turned out really low, and it's probably even lower on the stream. So apologies for that question, but usually I have this up at like 80, so turn up your volume if you need to. I just have this turned down so that I can hear myself and you talking with each other here while we're going through this. But usually I have that higher while I'm actually playing a game. So just make sure that we are paying attention to our audio cues, because when soldiers, right above our heads and to our right, this is a very easy kill that we could potentially go for, right? Because he's not looking any, or we could make sure that when a bomb's coming, that we're not just not doing anything at all if we can, right? So like here, it'd be pretty decently easy to just peek the soldier and shoot at the soldier without just dodging out the bomb, right? And then that's an easy kill that you could have gotten, right, on him. All right. All right, so we do hear him eventually. But again, watch the crosshair placement, right? When we're coming back out to shoot at him. Right, coming out, aiming down here. Therefore, we hit body shots, right? And it takes 2, almost 3. But besides that, very good general mechanics. Make sure you request healing when you're low. Aiming at the floor again. Yeah, crosshair placement is probably going to be a big one, right? Just like it's constantly just really far out of the ground, and therefore we're not really hitting any headshots, which is going to make a big difference between securing a kill or not. Remember that time to kill is a very important thing, right? The faster you kill something, less time they have to heal, less time they have to use tanking abilities, less time they have to use movement abilities, less time they have to get help from a teammate, and therefore you secure the kill and they stay dead, versus you get 1 shot in and then they escape, or 2 shots in and then they escape, right? So killing things faster is always be better, and therefore headshots are very important to be doing more damage. So we want to make sure we're doing that. Okay, a little bit of a risky play there, so let's rewatch that. First off, I think we're down people, so at the moment we're down to Lucio. And I believe we also have some people walking back. So at the moment it is a 4v6. Right. So first off, we're paying attention, make sure we're paying attention to kill feed, and we're paying attention to our team. So we're not, getting pretty aggro when we're down 2 people. Secondly here, yeah, we're just kind of coming in from the front. No, it's not really too much of a flank, right? So just keep in mind that right now we're coming from the frontal angle, right? The difference between coming in at this angle, and let's say we just came in from above to the right here, is that they're already looking in this direction. That means that the time before they see you and acquire the target, so they know that you're here and they turn their crosshair just a tiny little bit, is like half of a second. But if we're up here, now the time before they notice you and turn their crosshair to you can get extended to a second or even 2 seconds, and if they're distracted, that could be even potentially longer. So the time before you die and you get shot at is much extended when you're coming from the side from behind versus when you're coming from the front. Therefore, probably don't want to be coming from this angle from the front, and it's pretty risky. And we also walk a little bit too far out, right? Notice how we walk out of the doorway, whereas we probably should like we probably should wait till they walk forwards a little bit. Like imagine if we waited till they walked forwards a little bit, and then and we're just playing a little bit safe because we're down some people, right? And then we flash the ground, right click, and just roll back and try to back out, right? We're just not, we're playing a real passive. This is a really aggressive position, and when you have an aggressive position, you can't play this aggressive, right? Just with how we're moving around here, we just run into them and therefore we die. Right? So just a couple different ways that we could approach that differently.
Yeah, of course.
All right. So now this is a lost fight. Yep. Just wait for the next fight to start up. When you already have your ultimate and the fight's nowhere close to starting, like that whole time right there, nowhere close to starting, right? We're still a good 10-15 seconds before the fight actually begins. Don't just shoot in spam damage, right? That's the definition of spam damage, is just like pumping in random damage that's not really intended to kill anything and to do a whole lot of damage, right? It's not like that's gonna secure a kill at all, because they're just gonna heal it up and the fight's not begun yet. So that damage there was just feeding support ults, right? So in that scenario, it would just be better if we didn't. Now, if we had, if we did not, right? Let's say we did not have our ultimate, then that's fine, because you want to get your ult charge. And I've had someone ask, have the argument before, well, wouldn't I just give them their ults as well? Well, yeah, but you're usually going to bank on you getting more value out of your ultimate than they're going to get value out of theirs, right? It's the outplay mindset of, if I get my ultimate, I'm gonna do better than they are, so therefore I'm going to charge my ult, right?
Yeah.
So there we just don't want to use it. Really, really good high noon's spot. Why didn't it detect the McCree on the left? What the heck? That totally looks like it was gonna get the McCree.
Howdy. It's high noon. Draw.
Oh, he moved right behind cover there at the very last second. All right, that's unfortunate. Make sure when we're going for it there that I think we could have let it maybe charged up a slightly longer. We did have a bunch of
Yeah.
people out in the open, so here we high noon and we go for it. But notice when the people are all out in the open, when we're shooting, the 3 people who are still out in the open, these 3, we don't even have them charged up fully. Like if we look at our perspective, Hawk Nap, I think I have to redo it, but to actually see it. So I have to get back to where we were. Wish there was like a 5. Alright, so we high noon, and at the moment that we're shooting, right, why did it reset the soldier? Did he I guess he got healed or something. But, soldiers half, divas probably like less than half. Reinhardt, look at, his, right? We're shooting here when we don't have the targets acquired, right? And then we don't have the skulls, whereas if we waited an extra couple of, extra 2 seconds, well, now we break Ryan's shield, we maybe get a pick out of it rather than doing nothing, right? And then we also cover a whole bunch of, we save a whole bunch of space, right? It's very unlikely that we die from here, right? We're very, very far away.
Yeah.
There where it's pretty safe position, and probably could have held it for a second longer. And now we want to make sure that we're requesting healing. Oh, there you go. Just did it. And good usage of cover. Okay, here we're backing really, really far up, and we probably don't want to be backing that far up. Like, this is not a lost fight by any means. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people here, and then the Genji's almost back. So this is a very, very winnable fight. Yeah, we're backing up like this is a lost fight into pretty poor positioning, because how the heck are we supposed to kill anything from here? This is, I think you said last time that one of our main talks was positioning, right?
Yeah.
So we would have talked about making sure we're within the right distance on McCree, right? Making sure we're a medium range, not a long range. This is a long range, right? Um, did we talk about off angling at all?
No, I don't think we
No,
did.
never really. Okay, that might be something we might go over here. But from this angle, we're basically going to be forced to shoot at tanks. So why don't we actually go over that? So we're at 450. We can just go over that real quick. So off angling. Right, so this ties into target priority, right? So target priority, we talked about it before, right? Let's just re-go over it to go in a little bit more in depth, right? Tanks have 2 to 3 times the health of other characters. They have shields, they have tanking abilities, and they are very hard to kill. On top of that, supports and DPS just have more statistical output, right? So tanks, even though it's a very important role and they do a whole lot, they don't output the same statistics. So tanks, their role is to create space for the other roles, whereas supports output healing and DPS output damage, right? So when
Yeah.
we are on whenever we're shooting at something, we probably don't want to be shooting at tanks. Now, that's not to say we never shoot at tanks. We shoot at tanks when they are low. We shoot at them when they're out of position. We shoot at them when they're the only things to shoot at. But we not gonna want to shoot at them if none of those are the case, right? So now we get into what you call off angles, right? Enemy team standing right here, our team standing right here. This is the main angle, right? This is where our team's shooting at them. If we were trying to shoot at them from here, we shoot into shields and tanks, right? That's just really the only thing we're shooting into. But if we take an off angle, that would be if we just came over here real quick. Well, now we've gotten past the shields, past the tanks, gotten directly into the backline where we can get a kill. We're drawing attention. This also creates what you call a crossfire effect, where now we're splitting their attention and there's less attention on our team, and it also really confuses them because they're not sure who to shoot at, and it's always gonna result in a lack of value as they're confused. They're not going to be coordinating this, and they're going to be confused over how much attention to dedicate where. They might accidentally put too much attention on you, or they might accidentally not put enough attention on you, and therefore either you or your team benefits. So therefore, off angles are something you want to do whenever it's an option, right? And the only time you wouldn't take an off angle is if the case where they don't like have a shield, for example, right? Or if they're on a dive. If they're on a dive, then you don't really have anything to off angle, and you want to stay with your back line. And if they don't have a shield, then you might as well just stick on the front line because you don't have anything to really off angle, right? But in any other case, which is going to be most of the time, you're going to take off angles, right? Now this is another example of an off angle. Would be enemy team there, our team here, main angle, right? Be if we just did a roll, right? Get up here, take high ground. Well, now we've gone past the shields, past the tanks, right, and straight to the back line where we can kill the easiest things with the highest value to kill, right? We can also do this with a high noon, right? We can high noon from the off angle, or we can high noon from a flank, right? It's just
Yeah.
different options, right? It's just going to get us around, get to the back line, right? Now, if we get back to the current positioning that we are in the game we were in, we just weren't in a position where we could take any off angles, right? That wasn't an option for us, and therefore we're just gonna be stuck shooting at the tanks when that's probably not what we want to be shooting at. So why don't we skip forward a little bit? We were like close up here. We were ahead of this. Okay, we kind of really unnecessarily backed up. We shot on the front line for a little bit. This is an off angle. Right here, this is an off angle. This is exactly the type of thing that you want to be doing, so I
Yeah.
like this play. Right, but then we back up to a position to where we don't have any off angles, right? On this bridge, there are no off angles. We're just be stuck shooting at the tanks and shooting at the tanks from a super far range out in the open, right? So a couple different things here we can do here. Obviously, we can't take the left because they're all over here, but we could take right room, right? This would get us immediately to the Mora, right? Or anybody else over here. We could potentially take the high ground, right? This might take us a little bit longer of a rotation, but if we feel like we have the time, we could take high ground. And now this gets us above them to where we can contest the soldier. We can come over the edge here and shoot at these guys. We can come over this way and shoot at these guys. This gives us a plethora of different options, right? We have option 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then we also have the option to drop from the high ground. So we have a ton of different off angles and a ton of different options when we're up there. So just make sure that we're not sitting in poor positioning like we are currently. Alright, so make sure we're just spamming out shots here. You get into a tiny little bit of... we talked about actions per minute last time. Yes, no.
Don't think so, no.
Don't think so. Okay, so actions per minute is just making sure that we're constantly doing something, right? Sorry, I'm just gonna continuously ask that question. Did we talk about it last time?
Ye
Because sometimes I just forget, who I'm saying who with,
yeah, it's
right?
alright.
So actions per minute is just making sure that we're constantly doing things, right? If you compare a grandmaster player to a bronze player, a grandmaster player is going to be efficient with every single second of their time. They're going to be constantly doing something. Whereas if you look at a bronze player might go pew 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 pew, shoot shoot, right? And then they're going to go, oh wow, there's boats moving on this map, pew 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 pew, shoot shoot. All right, pause randomly for 5 seconds, pew 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 pew, shoot shoot, and then it just keeps repeating. It's just a lot less efficient. They're not really doing stuff. Look at this random pause where we could have just been spamming at a shield, right? We keep shooting. We go shoot, 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 shoot. Random pause. Random pause. Random pause. Random. Okay, shoot, 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 shoot. Right, you see that? Right, it's just actions per minute,
Yeah,
making sure we're constantly doing something. Okay, probably want to be getting a little bit more aggressive here at the moment. All right, yep, there we go. Watch the the flashbang reach. That was a little bit too far away.
yeah.
Okay, looking at the floor at currently with a crosshair, right? Just crosshair placement, making sure we're not aiming here, right? Whew. Honestly, high noons have been like one of the least uh, least terrible things. How do I say this? You did good. Good job. I'm not good at complimenting people. The high noons have been pretty fantastic so far. Of course, it's not always getting a 6K, but it's still most of the time you're not dying with it. You're getting 1+ kills with them. There's a couple mess ups, but it's honestly probably one of the best things that you're doing with your kit. So really, really good high noons. That's a really good positioning to where you're using cover. You're really far away. You got a bunch of people in it, and you got a kill and a half with it. Oh, random right click. I don't know what that was.
I think that was a misclick there.
Yeah, that felt like it. Alright, really good. Little far forwards here. Okay, good job backing up. Just want to make sure we're not starting there, preferably. Oh, pay attention to where Reinhardt is. So at the moment here, we see the bomb come in. We have a couple different options. First off, really simple one is roll. If we see the bomb coming towards us, oh, snap! I got out of it. Okay, it's really simple options. Just roll towards it, right? Because we can see kind of the momentum of where it's gonna go. It's probably gonna go coming this way. So if we just roll past it, that means that we're going to have a decent chance of surviving it, right? Because obviously you see where it's landing, right? If we just had gone up here, well now we're safe, right? Or up over here, we're safe. Right now,
Yeah.
besides that, we also have this as an option in here, and we also, if we were paying attention, we probably could have gotten behind Reinhardt's shield here. We could still get behind if we just roll behind the shield real quick, but just because we're not really paying attention, therefore we die, right? So we want to make sure we're using cover properly, and we're just looking for different ways to avoid it instead of just standing still, right? All right, now they're on a Bastion. This is a good off angle. All right, this is the type of thing you want to be doing. Just come in, look for a flashbang, and grab a kill. Okay, so they saw us. That's fine. We back up. Yep, good off angle, right? So it's not like we're never doing it. It's just that I just was pointing it out so you do it more often, right? Or
Yeah, of course.
It's high noon.
bad high noon. All right.
Yeah.
So from this position, it doesn't. You can't high noon and then peek a corner because the problem with that is that you're not when you're trying to go for a surprise high noon, right? So this would be like to classify it as a surprise high noon. You need to be acquiring the targets so that by the time they look at you, you can kill them, right? But in the situation where we press the button when we can't see anyone, that means that we're not going to be acquiring the targets. Therefore, they can just turn around and look at us, and we won't have time to kill them, right? So we want to make sure that if we're high nooning here, that it would be after we've turned the corner. But even then, this probably wouldn't be the
That
best
Bastion
move.
would have torn me apart.
Yeah,
if I
exactly.
did, yeah.
Anna sleeps you, McCree shoots you, Bastion tears you apart.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
still probably not the best play. You'd be probably better off doing it from like the protection of your team because at the moment we don't have the best flanks or off angles, right? You know, on the other points, there's like 100% better high noons to go for. Like if we're just sitting back here, for example, we could like come up here and high noon above them from this angle, and then that's probably you're probably gonna get away with that high noon, quite fine without dying, right? It's just it's kind of the difference in strengths of the off angles. This off angle's not that strong of an off angle.
Yeah.
Okay, and then therefore we get shredded, and we're dead.
Hey. Hey there.
Yeah, probably want to be getting within a better range, because at the moment we're probably
Yeah.
doing like half damage, so better range, whoop, better range, right? Just request heal. I think we actually, never mind, I just think I heard request healing, I just forgot about that. Make sure we're not just requesting healing, but we're also putting ourselves in a position to where we can get healed. So, you know, just for example, come down here, therefore they can maybe see you a bit easier, and the Mercy can get to you easier. Just options, or drop behind, that works too.
Thank you kindly.
Just want to be getting closer, not sitting that far back. Okay, on the target priority list, Bastion is probably, again, not going to be the first thing you want to focus. So it's situational. So like I say, let's say before, in this situation, I would treat Bastion kind of like a tank. He's not the thing that you're going to want to focus first, because he has, you know, 250 HP. He has armor, which gives him more survivability. He also has what's it called, the armor clad or whatever, the thing that gives him what, 20% less damage. I'm just guessing at numbers here, but it's like 20% less damage when he's in his sentry form. So this guy is a tank, right? This guy doesn't take a whole lot of damage. On top of that, he's going to be the one that they're pocketing the heck out of, right? He's going to be pocketed by supports. So Bastion,
Yeah.
really difficult thing to kill. Now, that's not to say that we never shoot at Bastion. We shoot at Bastion if he's low. We shoot at him if he's out of position. We shoot at him if he's the only thing to shoot at. And again, we shoot at, and then this one's kind of an added in one that I would say that kind of applies to the tanks as well, is if our entire team is focusing Bastion, go ahead and shoot at him, because you can focus fire him, right? But in the situation where no, he is not low, no, he's not out of position, no, he's not the only thing to shoot at, and no, our team is not all focusing him because we're the only ones shooting at him, go for something else, because we have the option to shoot at pretty much any other character there, right? Would just work better than Bastion, right? So here we could focus, we could shoot at Moira, we could shoot at, probably Moira would be the best thing here, right? And then she backs up, right? But we can also turn left and maybe shoot the McCree. It's just that Bastion's not the thing, right? And then therefore he survives. Alright, unfortunate bomb. Alright. Make sure that when we're on our off angles that we're looking to get like a little bit more survivability. I like the angles that we're taking, but the problem is that I think we're getting a little bit too aggressive on them. So I think the survivability at the moment, we talked about survivability, right? There's a lot of different things that go into survivability. You have ability usage that can lead to deaths. You have awareness, positioning, and aggression, right? At the moment, I feel like one of the bigger things that's feeding into these deaths is aggression, and we're getting too aggressive. So we're going for off angles, which I think is great positioning, and I honestly don't have a problem with them. It's just the fact that I think we're going on them and then getting too aggressive and not having a way to get out. So consider, for example, maybe going on those off angles and saving roll to escape, right? Just to roll backwards real quick. Don't extend too far when you're going on the off angles. Use cover more often when you're going on the off angles. Shoot at the right things, and then hopefully you're not dying. Pay attention to your surroundings, right? There's just like a bunch of different things that'll just feed into us staying alive on them. So again, to clarify, I don't think the off angles are bad. I just think we're approaching them slightly wrong. Very nice. Make sure we had ammo to follow up on that though before we're flashing. Alright, now we do get a pick with that, but that's because he rolled out into the open, so that's kind of was his fault. Again, I don't think that was the best high noon. I think he just kind of gave you a kill, just because it's kind of the same thing as last time. You don't, they have a ton of time to react to this. just because they're right next to you. It's not really the best of an off angle. It's like in comparison to some others, it's gonna be slightly easy to locate you because there's only 2 possible spots that you could be at. So you probably just honestly find more value off of being on the front line, but we do get a kill out of it. Really nice. Oh, really nice. Watch the spam jumping. Did we talk about spam jumping last time?
No.
No. Okay. So spam jumping, honestly, not too big of a deal. Spam jumping is just when you go jump, 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 jump. Right? Not too big of a deal. It's a very low priority out of everything that we've talked about, but it still is a thing to not want to do, because when you do a spam jump, it's actually going to be easier to headshot you and hit you in general. Because when you go up, you have to come down. Therefore, it's an easily trackable animation, especially the higher up in ranks you go. So this would be especially an important thing if you're like GM, but honestly, it's not as big a deal when you're lower. That's why I said it's a pretty low priority. It's just a thing to pay attention to, and here we are doing it. Hit your shots. Hit your shots. We did it. All right. So obviously, they're just hitting more shots would have been beneficial for us. Also, maybe just realizing that we probably wanted to back out up here. So after, like, what we should probably be looking to do. So again, survivability, we're focusing on staying alive here. Probably be a really good idea to kill the Ana, and then, but while we're killing the Ana, to like be backing up towards cover. This way we can get back to our team, right? So we can get to healing, so we can get to protection. Not getting killed from behind. We want to really pay attention here, because we're about to be killed by the people who are respawning, and this is something that has happened twice so far, right? We want to make sure that we're being aware of the respawns, and we're not positioning in places where they can kill us very easily. So while we're killing this Ana, it'd probably be best if we were like trying to get out to the left or the right, right? Either or works. So obviously hitting shots faster does wonders for getting you out faster, but then also as soon as we hit that kill, honestly, getting close to her might not have been the best idea. I might have wanted to just like keep backing up while shooting left clicks, right? That'd probably be the best here. It's just the missing shots really ruined it, and then trying to go main here just was the problem, right? So just the missing shots combined with the slow backup, results in our death, right? And then therefore our team goes from having a pretty massive advantage, right, to being down a player, which potentially, this is like how being down a player to start off the fight is how we could potentially lose this next fight, right? Just because we're out of position to begin with, right? We carried to begin with, but then we kind of fed, right? And then therefore we lose out on a ton of value that we could have potentially had.
Yeah.
Right.
As soon as I start a 1v1 close range, my aim just deteriorates.
Yep. All right, so our team does end up winning that without us. All right, that would have been pretty funny if they had touched that and then the hog hooked it and then everyone died. All right.
Hey.
Alrighty. Nice. Destroy. Just kill the turret real quick, right? It's usually just good to get those out of the way.
Not sure what the Mercy was doing at that point.
Oh, I'm not sure either. It looks like Mercy might be kind of trolling a little bit. Because she remember what she did on first playing with the Reinhardt.
Yeah.
I would imagine those two are duoed.
I think they were, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She's kind of feeding there, isn't she? You say this is a scrim or what? Or pugs?
Yeah, it was. I know most of the people in the game. A lot of them are what's it called? Few hundred SR higher than me.
So you would say this is more of a pugs match, so pickup games?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
All right, yeah. So scrims would be a team environment, so like a 6v6 with teams involved. A pug was just a bunch of random people that get together and they play some competitive games. So the Mercy looks like she's kind of having a blast there. All right, request healing. Make sure you're requesting healing. Where the oh wait, where's the other support? Wait, I'm confused. Did you not?
Lucio just died.
Oh, okay, you're right. I'm blind. All right, yep. So now we're down people. If we're sitting at 57 HP and we're down 2 people, we should probably just back up and try to go grab healing or something like that, right? This is pretty much a lost fight, and at this point, we probably should just be backing. because then we're just gonna die late. Did we talk about how to know when fights are won or lost?
No, I don't think so.
All right, well, let's go into that then. So, honestly, I don't think this is a very massive issue of yours, but it's just a thing to keep in mind and remember, right? So, how to tell whether or not you've won or lost a fight comes down to watching kill feeds, or the top right corner of your screen. When you are up 1 to 2 people, that is an advantage. When you have an advantage, you can play more aggressively because they have less people to shoot at you and less people to do damage and tank and heal, right? When you're up 2 to 3 people, that is pretty much a one fight. At that point, you no longer need to use ults because you've already won it, and also at that point, you want to get super aggressive so you can go and get more ult charging kills and stagger them further. Now, when you are down 1 to 2 people, that is a disadvantage. When you have a disadvantage, you might want to play a little bit more passive because you have a disadvantage, but that doesn't mean you lost the fight. You are just losing the fight. Right? Now, when you're down 2 to 3 people, that is a lost fight. At that point, you want to look to not use ults and get out if possible. And if it's not possible, let them kill you. This way, you do not stagger yourself. Are you familiar with the term staggering?
Yeah, I am.
Yep, so we just want to make sure that that's not happening. Here we did stagger ourselves and our whole team too, right? Whereas we probably could have backed up or just died earlier and that would have been better. That fight was lost because we were down 2 people. Now, not every fight where you're down 2 people is a lost fight. There's a lot of other things that go into whether or not you've won or lost, right? So, for example, which team has more health? Which team has better positioning? Which team has better spawns? Which team has more ults? Which team has more abilities? Which team is using more ults, right? There's a ton of stuff that goes into it. Usually you can still pull back a fight if you have a big advantage. So for example, we could be down 2 people and have a super close spawn and still be able to win the fight, like on a 2 CP map, right? You could be down 2 people and their entire team be 1 HP and still be able to win the fight. But in the situation when we're down 2 people at the very beginning of the fight and we don't have any advantage, then that's probably a lost fight and you'd be better off just backing up, right?
Well, now.
Right. Well, I mean, one of the good things I would assume maybe here is that, I mean, the fact that I'm asking, did we talk about this all the time here? And then you keep
Yeah,
saying no. One of the good things I would say to that is that, okay, well, now at least you're not doing the same exact mistakes that you did last time. If I'm having to constantly, because otherwise, like if I said that and then you said yes to every single one, then that would mean you haven't really improved at all on much here. But by the fact that I'm not having to repeat myself a ton means that we're going over new content rather than just going over stuff that we talked about last week, if that makes sense. So
yeah.
that means that at least some level you did improve. So that's good.
Enemy turret destroyed.
All right, so just a quick strengths and weaknesses, real quick. Not gonna spend too much time on it. Ultimates, pretty great. Honestly, like ultimates and ability usage, they do have some of them have their issues, some of them are messed up, but for the most part, they're pretty decent, and they're also not too important on McCree. So, because he has weaker ultimates and abilities than other characters do. But so for the moment, probably say priority on them would be like a low to medium on both of them. Now mechanics, a crosshair placement along with actions per minute and target priority. Doom put that one at like a medium high maybe. Now positioning is
Mm,
coming in. Oh, excuse me. Positioning is coming in, still looking like one of the bigger ones as well. So that one will come in at like a medium high. Keep making sure we're using off angles properly, staying within range, using cover, right? And then awareness, honestly, is not a ton that we're not being aware about. Yeah, I guess there is a little bit, so we'll put that one in the middle for now, right? So that's just kind of at a medium priority. So that's just kind of the priority list and strengths and weaknesses of what we're looking at here. Want to make sure we're paying attention to health bar. I feel like sometimes we just sit really low health. That's another awareness thing to look at, right? It just feels like a lot of times we're just sitting really low health and we're not really doing very much about it. Like we're not. I mean, at the moment we don't have anyone to request healing of besides the mercy, right? We could request healing. We want to back up and try to get a health pack, right? We just don't want to be sitting at 74 HP. Alright, we definitely want to. Okay, so there we're just letting them kill us. That's fine. All right, that's. Oh, that's a terrible res. All
I've seen the last.
right. No, that's not your fault on that second death. And the first death, honestly, was was a good decision because you had lost that fight. So it's just better that you let them kill you, right? Now we're up a person. Want to be taking the high ground, probably like up top left, not below, right? This high ground gives you a ton of options, right? I'm thinking of a bunch of different things. So the high ground first, right? High ground, we can see here. We can see here, right? We already talked about this whole thing, ton of different angles. I don't know if we talked about it last time, but just as a quick reminder, high ground gives us survivability, visibility on a ton of different things, and it's also going to give us natural cover usage, as well as a good off angle here, right? So high ground gives you a ton of advantages that we want to take advantage of. On top of that, we kind of approached pretty slowly here. So remember, we're trying to get in range pretty fast, right? We're trying to get as close as possible, as fast as possible. So first off, identify, where the fight's heading. You can see the cart through the walls. You can see your teammates through the walls. So therefore, we probably shouldn't have taken this wide wraparound to the high ground when we know this high ground's probably nowhere near the fight, right? So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
Unnecessary high ground taking, right? Secondly, right, we kind of hesitate here. We see again, no one's here. Our team's really far forwards. The fight's not here, and we kind of stay here for a little bit. We kind of hesitate a little bit, and then we drop, right? And then we're gonna stay here for a little bit, right? We maybe could be moving to the side and shooting at the same time, and we're kind of sitting here a little bit, and then we move forwards, right? So it's just these kind of long pauses when we could be continuously moving forwards while we're shooting, not taking these pauses and getting in range, and then also taking high ground faster. So more onto the positioning stuff like we were talking about before. All right. So now that we've gone into more high noons, I honestly would probably bump them up a little bit. I'm gonna bump high noons up to like a medium priority, above our ability usage, because it's seeming more inconsistent. Some of them are really good, some of them are not so great. Like this one, for example, there's no problem with our survivability here, right? It's not like we're not gonna die here. The problem is that it's just not a good position to high noon. It mainly because there's just a shield and a DM in a way, and they're really
Yeah.
close to. And the other thing is that they're just not out in the open. Or they're out in the open for now, but they're decently close to cover. So by the time that we acquire all these targets, they're just gonna move around the corner, right? So notice how by the time we start, by the time everyone's charged up, two of them are on the corner, right? And we can only see two, and then there's a DM and a shield interface. So this is just not really the most effective high noon. Whereas probably coming into the next fight, let's say like they're all sitting at right here, like right here in the spot I'm standing in, right? And we sitting behind our main tank or something like that, and we do a high noon. Well, now they have a lot less room to run, and maybe we can wait until the shields are a little bit more broken, or we can wait till the defense matrix is a little bit used up, and also at this point, it's just not the best high noon because there's no one to hit, and then therefore it gets eaten. Probably want to be taking high ground at the moment. Oh, good shots. Nope, this is fine. We can keep pushing now that we got some picks. Unfortunate, Genji. It's really good. Good job playing within your range and using flashbang. Honestly, I might even bring. I think I'm actually gonna bring ability usage down to like a low for now because Flash has been looking pretty consistent. There's just like once in a while where we accidentally mess up a flashbang and think it's too longer than it is, and then once in
Yeah.
a while we'll mess up a roll. But besides that, honestly, ability usage is looking really decent. So on that priority list, I'm bumping up the ultimate usage up to a medium, and then bumping down the ability usage down to a low. Okay. Probably in between fights, right? Make sure that, again, this is going into the positioning category. In between fights, we want to be rotating to the best positioning possible, right? So right now the fight's pretty much done, right? We've just killed pretty much everyone right there that we get a kill. This is in between fights at the moment. where would be the best positioning to be at?
Probably on the high ground behind me.
Yep, exactly, right? So just we want to be rotating there when we have the time. We could go. There's no one who could really shoot at us, so we could just come this way, right? Probably be really simple, right? But that'd probably be the best one because this is like insanely far away, and that one's out in the open over there, right? So that probably just be best if we went like top right here. But if we were further back, we could also go up the back left one. Yeah, if our team's getting play to our teams after they're getting like super far forwards, we can push a little bit forwards too. I like this positioning. This is good. I don't know what the heck Lucio's doing, man.
I'm not sure, honestly.
All right. So now we get into an issue. Now we're going for the high ground rotation, but the problem is that it's in between a fight. Or it's sorry, not in between fights, it's in the middle of a fight. So at the moment, this is now a bad move because of the fact that the fight's happening and therefore we're not participating in this fight. And you know how we talked about, being up and down people, essentially we're putting our team down 2 people at the very beginning of the fight, which is essentially dooming our team to a lost fight by just leaving it, right? If we stay in there, then that's a 1 fight, or it's not a 1 fight, sorry, it's an even, we're just at a slight disadvantage, but us leaving essentially dooms us to the loss of a fight, right? This rotation is something we should have done in between the fight, and if the fight begins before we're able to do that, you're better off sitting on the low ground, right? Now this is different if it's a really fast rotation, right? Like maybe something like this might take like you 3 seconds max, right? But something like this, takes us a long time. Like the time that we're out of a fight takes really long, and we also hesitated. We kind of paused for a moment, so we take a really long time where we're outside of that fight. I mean, skip back and just count it out. But so by the time we're out, our team's all up there fighting. Now we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, and then by the time we do this, the fight's already lost, right?
Yeah.
Right, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 versus 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably be better if we just waited here. So for example, like this probably isn't going to get too much because they, or I guess it could there's has the ability to, but at this point it might not still win us the fight because we're already down a bunch of people, right? And also they have a lot, because they're not as distracted with the fight. They have a lot more attention that they can give us, right? They have a lot. They're not going to be super distracted. So the better move here probably would have been to just wait until our team grouped up. We could sit here and hide on the high ground. But then when the next fight's about to start, we can pop up on the high ground from over here, high noon from above them. Now they're distracted by our whole team, right? And it creates a big crossfire effect again, right? And then we also probably are more likely to win that fight if we get the high noon off than we are if we get 2 kills here versus we get 2 kills in the next fight. We're more likely to win that fight because we have the advantage versus just being even. Right? So there we don't even get any kills, and then now that reveals our position, and we're likely to die, and that means that we might not. Now we just stagger, right? And now we're well, right? And now we stagger, and we're probably not likely to get a full team regroup now, right? We're not going to get a full team redo. We should probably be pretty important. Now I completely forgot to do the ending here, so we'll have to rush through this a little bit. But now we do the recap, the main points, and then end it there. So we're on McCree, right? So starting off with ability usage, right? Your role, not too big of an issue, right? Just I think you got it pretty down. Just use it to go on flanks, and that's just for mobility, and that's pretty much it. Flashbang, make sure we're not overestimating it. Sometimes we would just toss it from here and expect it to hit, right? Just make sure we're understanding the range. It is a 10-meter range, so it's from here to there I can hit them because it launches 5 meters out, right? And then has a 5-meter range on it. So from here to there I can hit them, right? Anything past that, it would not hit. Besides that, not too big an issue, right? High noon usage, good half of the time, not good the other half of the time. I think what we have down, I think what we're good at is we're good at not dying when we're high nooning. That's the good part, right? Which is pretty good because not a lot of people do have that, so it's not terrible, right? But the other issue is that we're not very good at knowing when to high noon to actually get kills, right? So we have the surprise advantage down, we have the cover down, but we want to work on the timing as well as knowing when to use it, right? So make sure we're not using it in a won or lost fight. Make sure that we're not just using them when we have a pretty poo-poo off angle to do it from. You usually want a better off angle than just, being an inch from someone. Like, for example, like, there's a big difference between these two off angles. It's kind of the quality in them. We talked about two different off angles. We talked about this one and that one. If we're trying to do a high noon from here, this is a pretty poo-poo off angle. We don't really have very much visibility to go for a high noon from here. If we tried the high noon, we'd probably just die pretty easily, right? We're not going to be able to kill very much, and they can get to us easier. This is a much better off angle where we have a ton of visibility from here. We can see every single player of their team, and also we have a ton of survivability because we have the high ground advantage, as well as it's just a much more survivable position. So just remember that you can't do high noons from every single off angle, right? It's gonna, some are higher quality than others are, right? Besides that, make sure you're using it when they're out in the open and they're not able to run away from you, right? So, for example, here, right, we're going to be able to hit these guys when they're out in the open right here, right? This would be good high noon to go for it, but when they're all the way here, now this is a terrible high noon because they can just run away to cover, right? So we want to make sure we're using it when they're out in the open and they can't get away from us, right? Also look to just avoid shields and DM whenever we can, right? Just look for ways to avoid those, and then you'll be set, right? Now, on from there, mechanics. Make sure we're aiming at head level, right? We're not aiming at body level. That's a pretty big one that's going to allow us to get more kills, more damage, do more things, get more ults, right? If we're just aiming at head level and doing more damage. Besides that, make sure we're understanding target priority, right? Not shooting at tanks, but shooting at DPS and supports. And then also on top of that, actions per minute, right? We're shooting at, like, trying to do things at all times. That one was probably like the least amount of work needed out of those three, but still just making sure we're doing things. We're not taking long periods of time out of the fight, right? Just pausing for no reason or rotating in the middle of the fight, right? On top of that, moving on to positioning, make sure we're taking off angles, right, like we just talked about. Make sure using cover properly. We're not on the open. Good positioning is the usage of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. Make sure as well we're not standing too far away, right? McCree's a mid-range, close to mid-range character. He's not a long-range character, so make sure we're not playing at a long range, right? But we're trying to prefer the mid-range, right? And then on from there, well, let's see. I think that was it for. Oh, so also just make sure you're rotating in between fights, right? Then finally, awareness. Make sure we're paying attention to our health bar. So we're trying to look for ways to get healing, request healing, or grab a health pack, right, to get healing, not just sitting low all the time, right? Then besides that, pay attention to where is my team, where is the enemy team, so that we know like what's happening in the fight. And then thirdly, make sure that we are paying attention to a kill feed, right? So we know whether or not we're winning or losing. As a quick reminder, it's 1 to 2 is an advantage or disadvantage. 2 to 3 is a won or lost fight, right? Now, when we've won or lost a fight, no ults, and then also look to get super, super aggressive when you have advantages and when you've won, and then you also want to look to get less aggressive with each disadvantage and when you've lost a fight, right? Also look to get out if possible, and if you can't, let them kill you, right? Now, on from there, I don't know, is that it with awareness? I think that might be it for awareness. So I think that, yeah. Let's just say that's it for awareness. So main points, right? Number 1 is going to be positioning, probably again, same as last time. Though I definitely think since we went over some new topics with it, even now, I definitely don't think it's the exact same things as last time, and you definitely have improved. But positioning still going to be one of the bigger ones here. Number 2 is going to be mechanics with all those categories that it entails. Number 3, we're going to probably put a high noon and then awareness after high noon. Yeah, those are pretty close. Those two are pretty close. But I'd probably put high noon and then awareness after that, and then finally ability usage coming in at the bottom. But those two would be probably pretty interchangeable. You could go for awareness or the high noon, either or. Right? Do you have any questions about anything we've talked about?
No, not really.
All right. Well, then I'm going to end the recording.